Who could have imagined that what led Murong Qingyi to recognize his biological son would not be a DNA test or some ancient blood recognition ritual, but a plate of fried broad beans? Ren Le'an secretly ate some broad beans from the storeroom and suffered such a severe allergic reaction that he fainted. Murong Qingyi, meanwhile, had refused to eat broad beans since childhood. Some things were buried too deeply in the blood to be hidden forever. Murong Qingyi immediately pulled Le'an closer and carefully examined the boy's hands. Then he studied his eyes and features for a long time. The longer he looked, the more shaken he became. The child's face was almost identical to his own when he was young. He suddenly remembered Ren Le'an claiming that Le'an was Li Bo's son and let out a furious, mocking laugh. Nonsense. That very night he sent people to investigate. The evidence was undeniable. Le'an was his biological son. Ren Le'an had hidden the truth from him for 6 entire years. When Murong Qingyi finally learned everything, he completely lost control. The first thing he did was force Ren Le'an to attend his engagement ball. He sent men to invite Le'an away and delivered a message to her. The young commander feared that you would refuse to attend his engagement ball, so he had no choice but to resort to this. You must come and witness his happiness with your own eyes and your own humiliation. What kind of message was that? He was clearly using their son to threaten her. At the ball, the lights suddenly dimmed, and a single spotlight fell upon Murong Qingyi and Ren Le'an. He seized her hand and announced loudly before the hall full of guests, "Thank you all for attending my engagement banquet. This is the woman I intend to marry." Ceremonial cannons thundered, and paper petals rained through the air. Murong Qingyi took out the ring he had kept hidden for 9 years. Before Ren Le'an could react, he slipped it directly onto her ring finger. Trembling with anger, she demanded, "Murong Qingyi, did you ever ask for my opinion?" He smiled as though everything he had done was perfectly reasonable. "You once promised that I could ask you to do one thing. This is my request. Accept this marriage. You are not allowed to refuse. After all, you swore on Le'an's life." He had used a promise made in their son's name to force the child's mother to marry him. It was an outrageous move that left everyone speechless. Murong Qingyi smashed her glass in fury. She loudly cursed the shameless couple and wished them both terrible deaths. Yet the guests in the hall immediately changed their attitudes according to the shifting winds. One after another, they congratulated the young commander of the Murong family on his approaching marriage. The cold and fickle nature of people was exposed completely in that moment. However, the most moving scene came after the ball had ended. Le'an timidly ran toward them, lifted his head, and asked, "Mom, Uncle, what are you doing?" Murong Qingyi crouched in front of him and struggled to calm his emotions. Then, speaking each word clearly, he told the child, "Le'an, I am your father." Le'an froze and turned to look at his mother. Ren Le'an's eyes were red, but she remained silent. Le'an looked up at Murong Qingyi again and quietly asked, "Are you really my father?" Murong Qingyi smiled. It was the first time such a smile had ever appeared on his face, so gentle that he seemed like an entirely different man. "I am." "So, would Le'an like to take a family photograph with his father and mother?" Murong Qingyi had spent half his life acting recklessly and the other half plotting against everyone around him. Yet when he crouched before his son and said, "I am your father," power struggles, hatred, and dignity no longer mattered. 6 years earlier, Ren Le'an had secretly given birth to his child and raised Le'an alone until he was 6. She had not hidden the boy because she did not love Murong Qingyi. She had done it because she was terrified that he would be dragged into the grudges and bloodshed surrounding them. Murong Qingyi had missed 6 years of his son's life. Now he intended to make up for every lost moment, with interest. Overdo, Ren Le'an never realized how cruel Murong Qingyi's marriage to Yi Jihong would be for Le'an. When Murong Qingyi returned victorious after years of fighting, the person who had contributed most to his success was undoubtedly Yi Jihong. Murong Qingyi had died at his own wedding. Immediately afterward, Li Rongjong surrounded the aviation school with armed men, intending to seize it by force. Yi Jihong knew that Li Rongjong was a man who would stop at nothing. To fulfill the final wish of the man she loved, she had no choice but to make the most sensible decision. She asked Murong Qingyi to take control of the aviation school. Of everyone in Shanghai, Murong Qingyi was the only person qualified to assume command of it and the only one capable of earning the genuine respect of its teachers and students. First, he was Murong Qingyi's younger brother. Because of that relationship alone, the teachers and students at the aviation school had little reason to oppose him. Furthermore, during the school's opening ceremony, Murong Qingyi had personally requested permission to test fly one of the airplanes because Murong Qingyi had been the one who taught him how to fly. At the time, Ren Le'an had planted a bomb on the aircraft as part of her plan with her sisters to kill Hu Xiaoxiong. Fortunately, the incident ended without any casualties. Murong Qingyi had obtained those aircraft even after the Murong family's engagement agreement with the Hu family had been broken. That alone proved that he cared more deeply about the aviation school than anyone else. For many years, whenever Murong Qingyi made a mistake, Murong Qingyi had always been the one who forgave and protected him. Now that Murong Qingyi was gone, his final wish was for the aviation school to flourish and grow. Only Murong Qingyi would truly devote himself to fulfilling his elder brother's dream. Everyone else merely wanted to profit from it. Murong Qingyi was practically forced into taking responsibility. Yi Jihong deliberately provoked him, and her words successfully pushed him into assuming control of the aviation school. Not long afterward, news arrived that enemies had invaded the south. Murong Qingyi was forced to lead troops into battle. 7 years later, he returned in triumph, covered in military glory. Almost overnight, both Murong Qingyi and the aviation school won the admiration and support of the people. One night, while traveling by car, Murong Qingyi encountered Le'an, who was searching for his missing puppy, Qiao Qiao. The boy nearly ran into the path of an automobile, but Murong Qingyi rescued him in time. He immediately became deeply interested in the child and personally escorted him home. However, Murong Qingyi never expected to discover that the boy was the son of Ren Le'an, the proprietress of Lanxin Garden. At that point, he still did not know that Ren Le'an had given birth to his biological son. He only knew that Le'an was the young master of Lanxin Garden. What surprised him even more was that Li Bo's had established Lanxin Garden to give Ren Le'an a secure place to live and to provide Haidingqing with a theater where she could perform opera. That same day, Li Rongzhang invited both of his sons to watch an opera. He reserved the entirety of Lanxin Garden solely to watch Haidingqing perform. Haidingqing bore an irreconcilable hatred toward Li Rongzhang. Her younger brother, the only family she had left in the world, had died in an explosion arranged by Li Rongzhang during his attempt to kill Murong Pei. She could never forgive him. After learning that Li Rongzhang had reserved the entire theater, Haidingqing burned through the ropes supporting a chandelier, intending to crush him beneath it. However, Li Bo's could not stand by and watch his father die. He saved Li Rongzhang from certain death, but the incident also allowed Li Rongzhang to recognize Haidingqing. The moment Murong Qingyi heard Haidingqing's name, he realized that Ren Le'an must also be inside Lanxin Garden. He successfully found her and soon discovered that Le'an was her son. Hoping to sever all connections with Murong Qingyi, Ren Le'an claimed that Li Bo's was the child's father. Murong Qingyi could not bring himself to believe that Le'an was the son of Ren Le'an and Li Bo's. Perhaps he had already begun to suspect that Le'an was his own child. Otherwise, he would not have immediately asked how old the boy was. Murong Qingyi even moved directly into Lanxin Garden. His intentions could not have been clearer. He wanted the three of them to live together as a family. He also ordered Lanxin Garden to suspend all business operations. The more forcefully he acted, the more unreasonable Ren Le'an found him, although she had no desire to argue with him. Murong Qingyi's decision to marry Yi Jihong was not based on his true feelings. He did it to protect Le'an from being branded an illegitimate child. Murong Qingyi and Fang Mulan's wedding had originally been arranged as part of a plan to assassinate Li Rongzhang. However, the bride had secretly been replaced by Yi Jihong, whose veil remained lowered throughout the entire ceremony. By marrying Yi Jihong, Murong Qingyi could officially establish her as a daughter-in-law of the Murong family. In turn, Le'an could be presented as Murong Qingyi's posthumous son. Only through such an arrangement could Le'an avoid being suspected of being an illegitimate child.